Hello, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge and welcome to my January 2022 TBR that I've just tried to film 3 times in a row. I didn't get that far into it. Literally, I was recording because I record on my phone and my friend called me and it was a butt dial. So I hung up, and then she called me again while I was recording to say, I'm sorry, I butt dialed you. Hi, I love you. I wasn't just hanging up on you. So this is the 3rd time we've tried it. So let's try again to do this. So thank you so much for checking this out. I have some fun announcements to do and then we'll go over the TBR. I try to keep these videos shorter than any others that I keep because we're not talking about the books, we're just announcing the books, but we'll see. I can't make any promises. But the big announcement that I have, and if you follow me on Instagram, you probably already heard about, and if you're not following me on Instagram, why aren't you? I did have someone comment the other day, they're like, how do I find your Instagram? Well, number one, I'm literally the Book Refuge on everything. So just type in your little device, the Book Refuge, and I will come up on Twitter, which I don't use that much, but that's what I am. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, not Facebook, I lied about that. And YouTube, it's all the Book Refuge. You can't miss me. I'm the only one called that. But if you'd like to follow a link, because you feel like that is a safer way, it's in the link tree in my bio. I don't put a link for every single thing because there's something called a link tree where you can put all of it. I know some people don't know what that is, so that's why I'm explaining it. They're just, there's new things we discover all the time, and the link tree is amazing. So down in my bio, there's a link that says link tree, and then that has the links for my Discord. It has my merchandise. It has my wish list. It has Instagram, and all that stuff is listed down there. Okay, so that's where you can find me. But if not, you can type in the Book Refuge. I do have a TikTok too. Don't use that very much. I'm working on it. But anyway. Okay, there's that. So the big announcement, like I said, that was on Instagram, is that I am bringing back the Romance Takeover Readathon, which was originally started in April of 2020, where us romance booktubers were really becoming, like a group of friends, and it was right when COVID lockdowns had started, and we wanted just something to make us happy. So we did the Romance Takeover Readathon, and then we did it again in November of 2020, and I realized that it had been over a year since we'd done it. 2021 was just very busy for me with life, and so I hadn't got it started. But what's wonderful about this is this time around, we're only doing it as a weekend readathon. So it's going to be, I'll make some room here so I can put some pictures up. It's going to be January 14th through the 17th, which if you're in the US, this is a holiday. I believe it's President's Weekend. Or is it Martin Luther King? Nope, I'm pretty sure it's President's Weekend. Either way, whichever one, it might be Martin Luther King Jr. But that Monday is a holiday here for us, so we're going to do it from Friday to Monday. There's a lot of fun things that are going to happen. There's going to be a kickoff live show on that Friday night, which will be on my channel. Then there will be reading sprints that are happening throughout the week. My fellow hosts for this are going to be Bree from In Love and Words, Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life, and Riley Marie from Riley Marie. They're who I asked to be my host with me, so they will be hosting reading sprints. We'll have the times listed, as well as you will be able to join us for that if you want to, because each host, some of us will join each other's, but we're trying to leave it open. So there's going to be one that's at like a 9 a.m., one that's at noon one day, and one that's in the evening another day, so that you can maybe make it to one of them. So all of that. Also, this readathon involves a build your own bingo board. Now, I usually use a build your own bingo board for the readathons that I do, just because I always would be frustrated with bingo boards made by a readathon, because I just want the freedom to do it the way I want, because the point for me is to read as many books as I can, not to necessarily do it by hitting the prompts, because sometimes, like I've said this, I get very stubborn. So I like a build your own bingo board so I can kind of do it my own way. So you'll find these templates linked down below. I will link them there. Otherwise, you can go to my Instagram to get them in my profile. But you can do a 3x3 bingo board or a 4x4 bingo board. And then there will be a list. I think I have over 20 different prompts to choose from, so you can build that bingo board. And so these prompts are a mix between action items, so attend a live reading sprint, or read an age gap, read a book that's over 400 pages, buddy read with someone, like those kind of different prompts. And you get to build your bingo board. And so you'll post your bingo board at the beginning of the readathon. And then when you've completed it, there will be this isn't live yet, but of the weekend, there will be a link in my bio on Instagram where you can submit your bingo card, and then there will be a prize for whoever gets picked for that. So it'll probably be like $25 for Amazon or something like that. So anyway, that is going to be very exciting. There'll be more details of that. I will have a specific TBR for the readathon go up later, but I'm going to try to fit the books I already have to read for this month in it. So anyway, but yeah, definitely check out the other hosts if you don't already. I'm very excited to have Riley, Bree, and Crystal helping me with this. It's going to be so much fun. 2 other announcements that have to do with January I want to put out there. One of them actually overlaps with the readathon, so this will be very fun. So on January 8th, which is the is it the Saturday? It's the second Saturday in January. I will have Tiffany and Robert, who are the writing husband and wife duo, Tiffany Roberts. They write weird, alien, and creature romance. They will be on my channel for an author hangout. If you see my goals video, you'll know that I want to do 1 to 2 author hangouts per month in 2022, and I already have my January one scheduled. I'm very excited about this. So they will be here to hang out. I love their Spider's Mate trilogy. I'm currently making my way through some of their backlist books that I haven't read before, and that's been so much fun because they write these heroes that are just so in love with their heroines and like obsessed with them, and I just love that so much. It makes me so happy. So very excited for that. And then the next Sunday, which this is January 16th, which will be during the readathon, I will have the Larks back on my channel. So Sophie Lark will be on my channel at 5 p.m. Central. And we're going to talk about her plans for 2022. I know what some of them are, and I'm so excited about it. And so I'm so excited to get to talk to her again. She's been such a good friend to the channel. She's been a good friend to me. Her and Mr. Lark have just been absolutely amazing and are the sweetest ever. If you haven't read any of her books, this could be a great chance to start some of them. Or if you want to learn more about them right now, I do have 2 previous interviews and hangouts with the Larks that you can find in my playlist. I have a playlist of all the authors that I've interviewed on this channel, and hopefully that will double with this coming year. That's going to be just amazing. So those are all of the big events that I have going on. But we still have one more event to mention, and of course that is going to be my book club with Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life, where we read a historical romance of old and new at times, and just gush over it. Last week we did My American Duchess, which is probably my favorite Eloisa James. And this time we're doing one that's new to both of us, which we do usually try to do, but sometimes Crystal will say, let's read this book you're very passionate about, because she spoils me and she's amazing. And she likes good conversation, and that's what we have. So for January, we are going to be reading Ravishing the Heiress by Sherry Thomas. I know a bit about this. I've listened to some reviews about it before. I think this is the second in a series, so it's up to you if you want to read the other one first. Crystal said that she didn't super love the first one, so I'm probably just going to read this one because I don't want to get frustrated before I've ever even read it. But I'm going to read the back of this to you so that you know. But this will be our book pick, and it says this. Millicent understands the terms of her arranged marriage all too well. She gets to be a countess by marrying an impoverished earl, and in return, the Earl Fitzhugh receives the benefit of her vast wealth, saving his family from bankruptcy. Because of her youth, they have agreed to wait 8 years before consummating the marriage, and then only to beget an heir, after which they will lead separate lives. It is a most sensible arrangement, except for one little thing. Somehow Millie has fallen head over heels in love with her husband who has become her very best friend, but nothing more. Her husband, who plans to reunite with his childhood sweetheart, the beautiful and newly widowed Isabel, as soon as he has honored the pact with his wife. As the hour they truly become husband and wife draws near, both Millie and Fitzhugh must face the truth in their hearts. Has their pact bred only a great friendship, or has it, without either of them quite noticing, given rise to a great love? So this book, it has a lot of things that make me nervous, just in that description. Now, I've read Sherry Thomas before, but I've read her YA fantasy series, The Elemental Trilogy, which I love. It's in my favorite YA series that I've ever read, but I've never read her historical romance. And I'm very nervous based on what this is about that it will not be for me. But one thing I do know is that it's going to give us a great conversation. So definitely check out this book if you want to join our discussion. It's always a great time. So let's get into the books that I want to read in January. We will start, as always, with the new releases and or arcs that I have going that I want to read in January. So these are not in particular order by their release date. I just wrote down all the ones that I'm going to have. So I should be getting an arc for Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. And even if I don't get an arc, this book comes out in January. So I'm going to read it as soon as it comes out or with the arc. But I got an arc for Twisted Games, so I probably will. This one is book 3 in her Twisted series, I think it's what it's called. There's going to be 4 books in this one. And I believe that this one is like a frenemies to lovers, or they're seriously enemies. I don't know. We've seen them bickering a bit in previous books. So very excited to check this one out. There isn't a cover yet. We should be getting the cover reveal for it soon. Then Monroe by Kresley Cole comes out in January. So I did apply for the ARC team for this. People have not been chosen yet. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'm big enough or what they're looking for or how many they're even going to hand out for this. I don't know. But Kresley Cole is an independent author now. But I do know, I'm sure that there are thousands of people who applied for this. So I do not know. But again, either way, I will be reading this book in January. Robert Pekoff will be doing the audio for this. And I'm just so excited. I didn't officially put them on my TBR, but I may reread McCreeve at least. And possibly, I still have never read Shadow's Claim, but I don't really want to read Shadow's Claim, so we'll see. But I may read McCreeve for sure because I know Monroe shows up in that. So this will be the newest book in Immortals After Dark, where it's been quite a few years since we've gotten it. And I'm very excited that Kresley is, you know, whatever family things were going on. I believe those were the rumors we heard. There'd been some family issues as well as, I mean, she's not with her publisher anymore. This is independent now. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for that one. I also heard that Saga episode 55 by Brian K. Vaughan and the illustrator is going to be coming out. Now, it's been a long time since I've read Saga, but I blew through all the issues of Saga probably two and a half years ago. It was like the first comic that I ever read, and I'm obsessed with it. It is a epic space opera, basically, with a romance that starts it all. And it's about Hazel, who is this daughter of this mixed species couple, really mixed race couple is how it's written, and the drama that they've lived through. And the cliffhanger at the end of the last one is terrifying. I'm very scared about what's happening, but I will be reading this puppy as soon as it comes out. So I had to put this in here. I know I don't normally talk about like comics or manga. I don't read too many of it. Really, I don't. But in this case, I'm very excited about it. Then I have an arc for The Lady Temps The Air by Harper St. George. This one doesn't come out till February, but I'm very much looking forward to read this. And this cover just kind of says January to me with the blues on it. It's so pretty. This is going to be the 3rd book in the Golden Age heiresses. This one's going to be about, I think his name is Max. Is it Max? I don't know, but it's the older brother. And I'm very excited to read this one because in the last 2, Max was kind of like the voice of reason, and he was very supportive of his 2 sisters who both just got the raw end of the stick with their parents being dicks. And I'm very excited to see Max's love story and how it's going to work out. I can't wait. And I was so blessed to get an arc from NetGalley and the publisher for this one. Thank you so much. So I can't wait to read this one. Also, I believe I will be getting an arc for River of Shadows by Karina Halley. This is going to be her like epic fantasy that she's writing. It's going to be a retelling of Death and the Maiden, which is like a Hades and Persephone retelling. It's going to start with a heroine in like modern times who loses her dad and then kind of goes on a journey to learn more about death. Maybe. I didn't read the synopsis too heavily. The cover for it just got released. And in the same way that she did with This Blood is Love, Karina is going to do like an influencer box. So I did sign up for that. I hope that I get that one. But either way, I will get the arc for this, I'm sure, because I've gotten the last like 3 arcs of hers. So I'll probably have an arc for this one. And then I also signed up for an arc of Bite Marks by Jenica Snow because I did blow through the first 4 books in this series earlier this year. And this is going to be the first vampire book in this series. The other ones have all been lichens. And this is supposed to be, because this series is like its fated mates werewolves. The first lichens, the first 4 have been. They've all been kind of these like ancient lichens finding their mates. Well, the one family, there's this Scottish family of lichens, who is what the other books have been about, the sister and like the 2 brothers and someone else or whatever. But their mother is a vampire. So it was a vampire and a werewolf, this big Scottish burly lichen that they'd married and had these kids together. And the mother, she has a brother whose name is Adrian, and he's supposed to be the hero of this one. I think that's how that works out. I've been seeing the clips that Jenica has been putting out, like the snippets of this one, and I think it's going to be very spicy. It's supposed to have, you know, it's going to have blood play in it. It's going to have degradation and praise kink, and it's going to have just all these amazing things. So I'm very excited to get this, whether I get an arc for this one or whether I just read it when it comes out. I'm excited. So those are all the new releases and arcs that I have written down so far. So we'll go with that. So next, I have a mixture of both reader recommendations and reading prompts. So I'm continuing with, you know, now that the rereading will be done when we're starting January, I picked this time 5 books from my viewer recommendation form. If you don't know, down below in my link tree, which is you'll see it in the description, there's a link that's called Linktree. You will find a link to a book rec form where you can recommend books to me. And this is where I take all of my viewer recommendations. So if you've left a recommendation for me in a video, I probably don't see it, but if you put it in this book rec form, I do see it. And I try to pick some books from that every month. Some of my favorite books that I read last year were in that book rec form. So it's definitely a great place to recommend books to me. So I'm going to pick 5 of those ones, and I'll tell you what those are. And then we will talk about my new TBR tin. We'll talk about that. So the 5 books that were recommended by you. I haven't looked anything up about these, so I'm just going to show you a picture of them, and then we'll move along. So I picked Hard Fall by Sarah Ney. I really want to read. I did do a random number generator for these as well. So that's how I do it. Their number. Anyway, I've talked about that in a video before. Hard Fall by Sarah Ney. I believe this will be a sports romance. Very excited. The Untamed Duke by April Morgan. I've really been looking for spicier historicals, and indie books is the way to go for that for sure. The Dominator by D.D. Prince. I believe this is a gay romance. Not sure. You Will Bow by Ember Michaels. And Enemies with Benefits by Roxy Noor, which I believe I have this one on my Kindle already too, because I think it was free one time. So I have that. Then I have an updated TBR tin. So I put a question up on my Instagram as well as it is on my YouTube community page, and it's still available, so you can still suggest prompts for this. I wrote down the first like 30 prompts that I had to put them in here, and then later, like probably today even, I will add in some other ones people have been saying. But what I did is I have some flashcards that I cut in half, and then I put prompts on them, and I drew them out. So I drew out 5 of them, and I also wrote down on the bottom people's names for recommending them. So you'll get a little shout out when I read that. And so we'll go over these prompts right now. And I used to do that on camera, but it was just a big hullabaloo because I would have to like pause it and then go look for the book and then come back. And I have a library app on my phone where I have all my books listed, which I would sometimes need to use to pick a book. So I used to do these on camera, but now I do it right beforehand to get ready. So let's go ahead and go through these. So the first one I had was a book with only a woman on the cover. And this was recommended by Chelsea. And for that one, I picked Changing the Rules by Catherine Bybee. And I believe this is a signed copy. So I have a lot of books that I've gotten from book boxes, specifically from the Romance Reveal book box. So those are a lot of books that I'm trying to use for this as well, because I have a lot. So this is Changing the Rules by Catherine Bybee, and it has just a female on the cover. And this one says, a dangerous mission will test their skills and their feelings for each other. As an employee of McCain Security and Solutions, Claire Kelly can certainly hold her own. Armed with an impressive set of covert skills, she's more than prepared to tackle any job that comes her way, except one involving Cooper Lockman. Cooper and Claire used to work together before his feelings for her sent him packing to Europe for 6 long years, but now he's back and determined to ignore the still smoldering heat that lingers between them. Their current mission, go undercover together at a California high school to root out the mastermind behind a prostitution ring targeting young girls. The closer they get to the truth, and the closer they get to each other, however, the deadlier their task becomes as Claire and Cooper risk their lives to bring down their target. Will their hearts be the final casualties? So I don't think I've ever read a Catherine Bybee, so I'm excited. Next, the title relates to music somehow, from Jennifer Smith. Don't mind my horrible handwriting. This one, I actually realized that I ended up having 2 books that had to do with music, but for this one, this is kind of a TBR redo, because this is a book I picked for November and then I just ran out of time to read it. But I picked Lick, which is a stage dive novel. So like a lick has to do with music. So this one is, I was actually gifted this like whole series by one of my viewers, which was very nice. So I'm excited to try to read this one. I don't read a lot of rock star romances. So this one says, Evelyn Thomas's plan for celebrating her 21st birthday in Las Vegas, they were big, huge. She sure never meant to wake up on the bathroom floor with a hangover to rival the Black Plague, a very attractive half-naked tattooed man in her bedroom, and a diamond ring on her finger large enough to scare King Kong. Now if she could just remember how it all happened. One thing is certain, being married to one of the hottest rock stars on the planet is sure to be a wild ride. So, I don't mind a surprise marriage. That's fun. Next, we have a book with food in the title, and this one was also by Jennifer, so thank you, Jennifer, for giving me lots of these. So this one was a lot harder to find one that related to food, and so I ended up, you got to tweak it where you can. So I thought this was kind of clever. So I actually picked Behind the Bars by Brittany C. Cherry, and I thought that this kind of would work because it, like bars, I was thinking, we'll say food bars. But this one also has to do with music, so that's cool. So anyway, I went with this one because it doesn't say that the book has to be about food. It just has something that relates to food in the title. So I'm going with this. I am very excited to read this. Look at that hunk of man. Because I know this is an interracial relationship, and I think it's childhood friends to lovers, which I know that Brittany C. Cherry does a lot, and it's not always my favorite trope, but I want to read more of Brittany C. Cherry's, so we'll see. So this one says, when I first met Jasmine Green, she came in as Raindrops. I was the awkward musician, and she was the high school queen. The only thing we had in common were our music and our loneliness. Something in her eyes told me her smile wasn't always the truth. Something in her voice gave me a hope I always wished to find. And in a flash, she was gone. Years later, she was standing in front of me on a street in New Orleans. She was different, but so was I. Life made us colder, harder, isolated, caged. Even though we were different, the broken pieces of me recognized the sadness in her. Now she was back, and I wouldn't make the mistake of letting her go again. When I first met Jasmine Green, she came in as Raindrops. When we met again, I became her darkest storm. I mean, an interracial relationship about a musician was one of my favorite books from last year. So, I have hopes. Then we have The Word Night is in the Title by Megan M. And so for that one, I picked One Night Promised by Jodi Ellen Malpaz. So, I've had this complete series forever. I have read a few of Jem's books before, and they kind of fit into that category of, and again, I say this with love, I say this on my channel quite a bit, delightful trash. Like those kind of books that you can't put them down, but when you're done, you're like, how did I sit through this book? I love it so much, but it's also torturing me kind of feeling. So that's my feelings about this. But I'm excited for this one because I believe that this has a male prostitute in it, and I freaking love that trope so much, or that setup, or a male escort. So let me read the back of this one. It says, Livy notices him the moment he walks into the coffee shop. He's heart-stoppingly stunning, with a blue-eyed gaze so piercing she's almost too distracted to take his order. When he walks out the door, she thinks she'll never see him again, and then she finds the note he left on his napkin, signed M. All he wants is one night to worship her. No feelings, no commitment, nothing but pleasure. Every defense mechanism Livy has adopted during her solitary life is at risk of being obliterated by this confounding man. He's obnoxious but well-mannered. He's a gentleman but aloof. He's passionate but emotionless. Yet the fascination is so powerful, Livy can't deny him or herself. M awakens something in Livy, something deep and addictive that she never knew existed and that she fears only he can satisfy. But she senses that behind the fast cars, fancy suits, and posh apartment, he's aching inside. To have him body and soul, she'll have to be brave to his dark secrets. Delving into his world and breaking down his defenses become her obsession, an obsession that could shatter her heart beyond repair. So is he a male escort? I don't know. This book was on a list of that, so maybe that's his secret, is that's how he makes his money? I don't know. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. We'll find out when I read it. And then the last one we have was a book that starts with a W. And this is from Farmer's Wife, K. Fran. So I'm very excited about this because I picked Wild by Margot McGuire. I've been wanting to have a reason to read this. I love this cover. I found this one at a used bookstore and it was just, you know, I just love that. So Margot McGuire, I have 2 books by her, but I've never heard anyone read her or anything about her. So I don't know, but let's read the back. No woman could tame him. He moves with the grace of a predator, savage, dangerous, wild. For Grace Hawthorne, the newly arrived stranger is unlike any man she has ever known. Proud, defiant, mesmerizingly masculine, he flouts convention and refuses to enter into proper society. Is he the real Anthony Maddox, heir to a glittering earldom, or an arrogant imposter sworn to claim that what doesn't belong to him? Including Grace, practically engaged to another, the well-bred lady's companion is now entrusted with the task of civilizing the primitive nobleman. Determined to fulfill her duty and nothing more, she tries to ignore her growing desire for Anthony, but it is a futile endeavor. As they come together in a scandalous, secret liaison, Grace must choose between the conventional life she was born to lead and a future with a man as unpredictable as he is irresistible. So, sounds like a historical I might like. So there we go. All right, as usual, this video got way longer than I wanted it to, but we had a lot to go over. So make sure you check out the links down below. Let me know if you're going to participate in the Romance Takeover Readathon. Let me know what authors you'd like to see on the channel this year. I'm very excited but nervous to reach out to people, but if you guys, you know, tell me who you want me to get, then I can be like, hey, my viewers would like this person on my channel, and that would be a good opening for me. So let me know. But thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe and click the bell to know when I upload. 2022, I'm ready for it. Let's go. Let's see what we can do and what we can read together. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.